Hey, spiritual rebels, how's it going out there? Tiffany here, glad to be back with you here on Fit Talk, Fearless in Transformation, where we really get into it raw, how we feel, how we are evolving and coming out transformed as we are fearless in transformation. Today, you're going to hang out with me while I formulate. This is my body wash with Fat Cat Skincare. I have a jojoba beaded body wash, and I have a non-beaded citrus fresh, and this is cool mint. Travel size, refillable size. We're going to make a 100 milliliter bottle while I talk with you about something super important. Okay? So, those of you that have been following me on this page know that I have been going through a very serious fraud case, RICO crime. And the elements and components of this case has been wicked, okay? It has involved witchcraft, family betrayal, colleague betrayal, theft, fraud, and murder. I have been a victim. I have been victimized. And I have learned that I'm not the only one. That there are many people that have been victimized in this case. It just so happens that I'm a little more brave in the ability to speak up. And so in some ways, I feel like I have become a silent advocate for people who have been targeted individuals, who have been stalked, gang stalked, and absolutely annihilated with hacking, phone cloning, witchcraft, and black magic, and so much more. So today I want to talk about the characteristics of such and what you can look for when you have friends or yourself are being a targeted individual. The reason that I wanted to address it today is because I have some frustration today. I'm not going to lie. In Tarotville, as I like to call it, we have a culture of individuals that are very, very gifted in tarot and the ability to see, foresee, prophesy, right? That have been able to give clues to those of us who have sought such a medium for solving our own case, right? And what's so interesting is that in my particular case, a lot of money was spent on hiring witches, warlocks, witch doctors, and tarot readers and everybody else to actually do crime and harm against me and my closest family, including my children. And I've been in this for a decade, so I have learned what it feels like, the signs, and I have become so perceptive towards individuals that I can literally tell an authentic individual from a fraud, okay? I can tell when someone's being genuine, when they're speaking. I can tell when somebody is being truthful when they're speaking, and I can tell someone who's being false. And in other words, a false prophet, right? I can tell, I can feel it. And you learn this it's like a second gift. It's a very perceptive gift that you learn. A child or an adult that grew up as abused, sexually abused, or physically abused, we are extremely sensitive to people. We are sensitive to what they're like. We can tell someone when somebody is angry. We can feel the change in people's behavior. It's very, very interesting. And so the reason I bring that up is because we have an ability to sense when our, we'll call it offender, is angry. We can sense when they are wanting to come up on us and do harm. We can sense when they are happy. We can tell if it's going to be a good day, and we can tell when it's going to be a bad day. We just learn this sense, and we learn how to literally walk and function around them. We really, really do. And when we are around people that you have to learn to read and understand, we become really careful about the friends we choose and the people we choose to hang out with, because we are so accustomed to feeling bad energy, bad people. We know the difference between a good person and a bad person at a very, very young age, especially if you have been a victim of child sexual abuse. You can sense it a mile away. By the time you're an adult, you can sense it for sure. Those who have had emotionally abusive parents, you don't have to be sexually abused to be abused, right? Emotionally abusive parents are the ones that are extremely narcissistic. They are, you never can do right, and they're usually ones to call out your faults. They're the ones that are going to judge you the most. And so you grow up with self-judgment, doubt, lack of confidence, right? Insecure about everything you do, which can lead to codependency, because then you are worried that you're going to let someone down. You're worried about the opinion and the approval of somebody else, which is why people who grew up in such environments, abusive, verbally, sexually, and abusive maternal upbringing, that you end up seeking approval. So you end up, doing things you wouldn't normally do. You become over-sexualized at a young age. You hook up with the wrong people, and you just end up living a life trying to please others. And it becomes very, very common, right? It's a very common occurrence. In this case particularly, I have been listening for signs of what the offenders have been doing. How did they commit these crimes? How did they do the things that they did that put me in such a bad situation? And there's truly a community of people that have the ability to help. They have the ability to foresee. I talked about that in the past video, that the true gift of prophecy, right? Now I want to talk about the ones that were hired, okay? There were true witches that were hired, okay? Paid to do spells. They were paid and ascertained to read the energy and the ability to project magic, project witchcraft onto us, me, and other people that are currently targeted. Warlocks that have the ability to do love spells and sex magic, and will send in characters to try to thwart you off your path by sending you false love and sending you people that you just don't need to be around, right? You just don't need to be around. And they will send them your way. And so over the 10 years that I have been in this, I'm sure a lot of people have been paid, that have been ascertained to do a duty, and they were happy to take it on. Well, now we're coming to pretty close to the end of my particular case, and for many others. Justice is coming, right? Thank God we have learned that authorities are onto it. Authorities have tapped into what has been happening, and we are going to receive justice. But in the meantime, what's happening is you have those that are just gifted enough to discern energy and are giving a word and picking up, and those of us who are watching, they have the natural ability to pick up on our energy. And then there is is a culture of people who are the retired offenders, the witches that are no longer doing the magic, but know exactly what happened to you. They know what they were doing. They know what they did, and they are aware of the people that hired them to do it. So what they think they're doing is being clever and helpful by making videos and building a following of stating and calling the victims chosen ones and strong and this, that, and the other, and the survivors of, and they're literally calling out the actions that have been done to us as far as witchcraft, incantations, black magic, horrible spells, the poltergeists that are now the necromancy, and all of the things that truly have happened. But the reason that they speak with such authority is because they partook in it. They were actually part of the offense. They were the ones paid to actually commit the actions that these people wanted them to do. So now they're coming out and they're now talking about it. They're now coming out on the good guy side. And those of us who are extremely perceptive can feel it. We can feel the bad guy. We can feel it. And so it's absolutely, I say, just as wicked, just as offensive, and just as insulting to actually have a group of people who were the ones committing and partaking in the wicked game for money are now speaking about it as if they know how to help. And they're wishing, and Spirit said that you will this, and you're going to come out on the other side. And Spirit said that, and Spirit is here. What Spirit? I want to call out those tarot card readers and those retired witches and warlocks and ask you, what Spirit? What Spirit told you that? Jesus? God? You mentioned the Most High, but the Most High of what? What spirit are you actually referring to? And you're talking to a literal victim here, somebody who has the perception of like no other. You're speaking to a population of people that have survived the worst. And you're actually going to sit behind your camera and say to us that Spirit told you what is the positive outcome for us after you were paid to partake in the actual crime that made us victims? You sure about that? Think about it. Those of us who have been victims of abuse and adult targeting have a sense that most people will never understand. And we are not ones that are going to go out in public and say we're psychic. We are not the ones that are going to go out in public and say, I can perceive energy so keen that I can feel when you're sad as you're walking up to me. We're not going to say those things. We don't advertise our gifts. They were given to us by God, by Jesus, because we leaned on our spirit, the Spirit, for our comfort, our healing, and our saving from the exact incantations that these people were doing 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, that are now coming out as changed souls to help. Doing incantations on mothers, doing incantations on girls, boys, men, women, and then now want to turn their life around and help child trafficking. But are you still willing to do incantations on the mother of the ones that everyone's a mother? Every child has a mother. So if you're doing magic on any woman, then how could you be so, I don't know what's the word, triumphant for child trafficking as you slander and try to harm mothers? See, you have to be careful when you're dealing with victims. You have to be careful when you're speaking to a collective of people that you actually worked against, because we can see right through it. We can feel it, we can see it, and it's insulting. It really is. So, I come and I say, who's really for us? Who's really speaking to help a collective of people that have been traumatized, that have been bullied, that have been attempted murder on, not once, many times? Who's really standing up for this population? Who's really helping the case? Because the big talk of town is those who have had their inheritance stolen, and the mother that is involved, and the sister that is the witch, and the mother that's in the occult, and the secret societies that have the witches and warlocks that have done X, Y, and Z against us, blah, blah, blah. We all know what's going on. We all have heard the story. Now you are addressing a collective of people that are survivors. We have survived the ordeal. We are looking forward to and awaiting justice on the people who violated us, who frauded us, who stole from us. That's what we're waiting on. And now, the very people who were ascertained to do what exactly we are victimized of, think they're being supportive on the other side and wanting to share, like tell on the bad guys, tell on the ones who gave them the money, like they're helping us out. And I'm just wanting to tell you that you're not helping at all. You really aren't. You're actually, adding fuel to the fire, because it doesn't change the actions that you did. It might save you from a little justice, but it doesn't change the fact that not too long ago you wanted to harm the same people now you're trying to speak life into. Just remember who you're dealing with. Remember the characteristics of who a true survivor of abuse is, because we can see right through you. We can feel it. So it's just a little wake-up call. I just really wanted to put that out there today, because there's a lot of it going on out there. There's a lot of it that has now, people have turned and have come to Jesus, and great, God bless you, that's awesome. We need more people, and thank you very much that you have seen the light, because you have seen how the dark wickedness of these deities that have been conjured up and have been thrown against these truly innocent children of God, male and female, survived horrible acts by very wicked people. And they were so convinced and so shocked that their magic didn't work that they thankfully started to believe there is a God. And there is a God. And I'm so glad that our survival helped turn a new leaf in your life. Congratulations. You have come a long way, and we're grateful and welcome you. We welcome you to a life of peace and Savior and grace. But spare us your wisdom. Spare us the so knowing as if you're a psychic, and so helpfulness of what you're putting out there on your videos. Spare us. Just continue to work on your faith and work on your walk with God. Okay? Or why don't you just come out with the story and say, I'm a recovered witch. I'm a recovered warlock. And I'd like to share with you the acts of unkindness I used to do before I found Jesus. Why don't you do that? That will be far more impressive. That'll be far more well received. And we would love to hear it, because that's what's really going on. That's really the truth. So why don't you come out with your testimony of how you are a converted witch and warlock, or a converted member of a Mason or secret society group, and you have seen the light, and you'd like to talk about the wickedness of what sexual seances are. Why don't you do that? That is really going to make a difference and an impact on this world. Not taking bits and pieces of the real truth, our story, exploiting it as if you are an expert psychic. That is not helpful. Okay? A chosen one has the gift of discernment that is so keen that sometimes we ask, Lord, I don't want this anymore. Do I really have to continue feeling this? Because he will reveal truths to you that you don't even want to know. And this is one of them. One of the truths I had to receive today is that there are fake people out there that are retired nurses and warlocks, and witches, and warlocks that are speaking false. That's what I was revealed today. And as a chosen one, that's the gift we hold. And it's not something we necessarily want, because then we have to learn the truth that, man, people are playing games out here. They really are. Spiritual rebels, continue to speak your truth. Continue to speak your testimony. Share your story, because there are people that are still in the midst of shut up spells. They're still in the midst of horrible magic that they can't come from outside of. They're still addicted. They're still involved and wrapped up with these narcissistic relationships that are ruining them, that they need to get away from. They're still wrapped up, and they need our support. They need our voice to help them get through. So I'm saying, stay vigilant. Those of you that have your testimony as to the horribleness of what you have survived in the hands of these warlock witches and secret societies, keep talking. You are needed. Please keep sharing your story, and don't stop until justice comes and knocks on your door, because you deserve it. You've come a long way, as have I. And I'm going to keep talking, and I'm going to keep speaking my story and what my family has been doing to me, has done to me, people I trusted, exes, friends, everybody. I have a story, and I'm not going to stop until they are brought to justice. Okay? Stay strong, stay vigilant, stay rebellious. And that rebellion means keep talking, because they want you quiet, stifled, and hidden. And then the ones who actually did the crimes against you are speaking out as if they are supportive authorities, and they're nothing of the sort. Don't be fooled. Spiritual rebels, have yourself a great day. Thanks for listening. Until next time, see ya.